We're going to transition off of the June 20th talk, and we got Greg for just a couple more minutes. He's a hardworking man. He's going to go record 5 on the floor, probably talk about some PJ Tucker stuff, but we're going to do that after Greg leaves. We want to talk about the draft a little bit tonight. We had that as our title. We haven't talked about the draft at all after 20 minutes. So Greg has sort of a working list of guys that are have worked out with the Heat. My first question for you guys, 27th pick. Do you think we should keep it? And we're not going to talk about who they're going to use it on. Just should they keep it or should they trade down? I'm not talking about trade it for a player or anything like that. Keep it or trade down into the second round. Which of those two options? I'll start with Brian once again.
In 2019, the Nets traded out of the first round and got Nick Claxton in the second round. And the reason they did that was to open up some cap space because second round contracts are built differently than first round contracts. And you have a little bit more flexibility in terms of how you can do that and, guarantees and whatnot and things of that nature. So I think, yes, you trade out of the first round for business reasons. And because honestly, if any team does not need a first round pick, this team has turned guys into first round pick equivalents, from undrafted guys to cast offs from other teams and things of that nature. So yes, I think in short, you definitely trade back into the second round. Maybe you pick somebody up there, maybe you don't, but I don't think they need a first round pick, even if you just trade back 4 or 5 spots. And I have some names that we can get to, but we could save that for later.
We're going to get there. We're going to get there. Yeah. What I should have set up too is that the reasoning for this, and Brian alluded to it, is drafting in the first round. It's more years guaranteed. It's more money guaranteed, which could be a good thing if you're trying to use this in a trade in a few weeks when they sign their deal. The other thing about that is if you trade into the second round, it's 2 years. It's not guaranteed. There's a little bit less financially associated with it. So that's why we're kind of doing this exercise first, and then we'll talk players. Tony, what do you think? Keep it or trade down?
I don't think you have too many options. From 11 to about 32, the talent gap from 1 to 7, it's completely different. Anybody that you're picking up in the first round around 27, you probably can find similar talent somewhere in the second round, if not with undrafted talent. I think there's one move that every single one of us would like the team to improve with that 27th pick.
We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that.
I assumed we would, so I was gonna tease, but I have some names for 27 if we do want to go to that direction. And here's the thing: what outweighs all of us is if the Heat think they have a guy that fits what they're building right now. I trust them more than I ever trust me to understand cap and talent acquisition. So, like, if there's a dude that they see on their book and we draft at 27, I got full faith in what they're going to do. But I think that the right move and the move that they're going to make too is trade back, if not trade out completely.
All right, so I'm going to send that question to Greg. I'll make it a 2-parter. I'm not Brady. I'm not Alex. I'm not a trained professional. You're not supposed to do 2-part questions. So, Greg, should we keep it? Should we trade down? And if we keep it, who will we be looking at? What are you hearing? Maybe some rumbles about different guys.
So I think that they would be wise to trade down because the roster charge just for like an incomplete roster spot or a non-guaranteed guy, I think is like $900K, and the roster charge for the 27th pick is $2.2 million. So you just have a little bit more to operate with in terms of getting away from hard caps and all kinds of different stuff. I don't know. So there's just a part of me that feels like you can trade, get the same value in the second round, and that makes a ton of sense. If they do stay at 27, if there was going to be a player that I would say kind of fits the mold, I don't know that he's really that's the thing. The guys I've heard that are closely connected to Miami are not necessarily guys that are being mocked at 27. So that's why it's kind of hard to wrap my head around who they would go with. They've scouted guys that I can name for you, but they're second round picks. Alabama guard Keon Ellis. They've watched him all season. Like, that's a guy to watch, but there's a lot of mock drafts where he doesn't even get drafted. Marquette forward Justin Lewis is another guy. But I don't really see the I don't see the guy in that range that I've heard consistently enough to make me think that they're going to stick around that pick. But who knows? Somebody could fall, something like that. I have a feeling that they're going to trade back.
Is there anybody you've heard about in the second round or maybe undrafted type guys? I know you've tweeted out lists. So if you guys, I was going to say too, like if you're not following Greg, you're not a Heat fan. Or if you're not on the off the floor stuff yet, it's $305 a month. They're putting out stuff all the time, but you're getting stuff before it gets to Twitter, and they're putting out a lot of nuggets and draft stuff and free agent stuff, and especially in the next coming weeks. If you might want to just do it for like 1 month, you only got 305 on you, like do it for July because that's the month you need it, you know. So, well,
Hey,
Greg, what are you hearing about second round undrafted stuff?
Yeah, no, it's kind of these same guys. I think that there's a chance that Colorado forward Jabari Walker could potentially slip through the cracks, and they'd look at him. Oakland guard Jamal Cain, like nobody's ever even heard of. I've never even watched a YouTube highlight of him. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, but he's on the list. I mean, I'm reporting the information. And then the other guy that got brought up a few times is this Wake Forest forward. But I think he's rising up the draft boards now. He may end up being viable at 27, and that's Jake Laravia. I don't even know how you say this last name. Laravia. I think I'm doing it right. But yeah, he went to Wake Forest, and I know nothing else about him. But those are the names that I've heard most recently.
I know Tony said he had some guys on his list. Or Brian, anybody that you guys have targeted in your scouring of mock drafts and all the draft prep that we've been doing over the last few weeks?
Listen, man. Oh, the 30 minutes of prep that I did before this video. Look, if we don't get Lucas Williamson into our summer league camp, I'm going nuts. I'm going nuts. I've loved that kid. I like his athleticism. I just like the way that he plays that guard spot. I think he fits right into what we were looking for last year with UDFAs. Long guards that can do a lot on the floor. Nothing like really well, but they can do a lot on the floor. But at 27, if we pick, I like Bryce McGowan's now. I like Bryce McGowan's a lot. That's a talent. Another dude that I think is kind of draft ready, but still a freshman. Has a lot of space to grow inside of his game. He's athletic. He's got a lot of size. Is 6'7". He's got a good standing reach. He's quoted around Nebraska for having leadership talent coming into the organization as a freshman. That's a really impressive thing. He's just not really great at any one particular skill. He's this jack of all trades. He can play defense. He has an offensive bag. He can play make. He can create. He's long, obviously 6'7", but that's the kind of guy I think they would take. They would need somebody who's a little more NBA ready, who can give you a transferable skill set that allows them to drop in and play a very specific role. In the second round, Greg had all two of my names that I researched for 30 minutes.
I can tell you that Adam Simon is doing a lot more work than Tony Schwartz.